How come? Oh, there it is. Let's see. Mm, do what now? Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. What's this now? What's happening? Okay. 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 All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks so much for tuning in. Welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And I have many videos ready for you this evening, in case you're wondering. And we have a question for you tonight. We want to know, should we do a TV show tomorrow? Would you guys like us to do a live call-in show on New Year's Eve? And the only reason that I'm kind of offering it this year is because it's the plague year, 2020, and it's like for a lot of people, there's nowhere to go and nothing to do. Usually every year here, there's fireworks at the Space Needle. My friend Sam was really looking forward to flying his drone through the fireworks at the Space Needle, and now there's not going to be any fireworks at the Space Needle. So, if like I'm saying, like I'm thinking, there's nowhere to go, and we don't go. I don't go anywhere on fireworks days when it's a fireworks day. 4th of July, New Year's Eve, stuff like that. I don't go anywhere because the dogs don't like fireworks. So I just stay the fuck away from fireworks. So we won't be going anywhere. We'll probably do a little barbecue and hang out. But if you guys are interested, we could show up tomorrow and do a live call-in show and kind of bring in the new year together. We're thinking about that. If you're interested, let me know. I have, like I said, I have many clips prepared for you this evening, including one in which they said that the Nashville bomber's girlfriend reported to the police that he was building bombs in the RV. So again, this is another one of those things where this is like they say, oh, this guy wasn't on anybody's radar. Well, the police were told that he was building bombs in his RV by the most close person to him in the world. And what? And he's not on anybody's radar? The police aren't doing their job. Okay? You want to wonder why we need to defund the police? We need to defund the police because they're not doing their job. Okay? The police knew this guy was had been reported to. This guy was building bombs in his RV. How hard is that to fucking resolve? We have a report they're building bombs in the RV. We need to check the RV. Is that okay? No, you better get a search warrant. Okay, we can do that too. The FBI says this guy was on nobody's radar, right? So if this guy is on nobody's radar, he's been reported to the police that he's building bombs in his RV at his home. How is it possible that the police don't report that to the FBI, regardless if they have any evidence or not? It's been reported that this person is building bombs in their RV at their home. How is that not reported? And again, the police aren't doing their job. I have a video about a nurse who received the coronavirus vaccine and then tested positive for COVID-19. I thought you guys might want to see that. And I have a video about what a dirty cop sounds like. Right? The police chief from Mercer Island, which is very close to where we live here. It's just a few miles away. Mercer Island is where Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos lives. The police chief for that particular neighborhood does not want body cameras. Why on earth would a police officer in some of the most affluent, the richest property on the face of the planet, where Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos lives, why on earth would a police chief not want video camera surveillance to back up whatever it is he has to say? Why on earth? Unless he's a dirty fucking cop who likes being able to take money. Oh, I guess Bill Gates doesn't live in Mercer Island, but he lives really close to there. It's very close. But again, why would a cop not want to have cameras in this extremely affluent neighborhood where some of the richest people in the world live? Why? Because he's a dirty cop who takes cash payments and drives people home instead of giving them a DUI. Or instead of taking them to jail because they have a little bit of meth on them or a little bit of cocaine on them or whatever. Right? That's what a dirty... So I have a video about the police chief of Mercer Island saying that he doesn't want body cameras or dashboard cameras for his cars, for his police. There's better ways to maintain a positive attitude in his neighborhood. Apparently, and my guess is that better way is for them just to slip little cash under the table, and now we trust the cops because we know whose side the cops are on. The cops are on the side with the people with the money, of course. Duh. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I also have a video about federal prosecutors refusing to prosecute the police officers that murdered 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was playing in the park, playing cops and robbers in the park. Probably wanted to be a police officer. They shot him dead in less than 2 seconds after they appeared on the scene. And for whatever reason, apparently grainy video makes it so that the federal police, the federal prosecutors, can't prosecute the police after murdering a 12-year-old, after showing up and killing him being dead less than 2 seconds after they show up on the scene. Oh, there's nothing here, folks. I can't parse. The video is all grainy. We don't know. We don't know what happened. Fuck you. All right. So, what do you guys think? Should we do a show tomorrow night? Anybody want to call? The number's right there on the screen, 805-669-6397. I have some lovely dabs here ready to share with you guys. If you're interested in doing some dabs, we can do some dabs. I'm interested in doing some dabs. I don't care if you're interested or not. We're going to do some dabs. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. What else is there? I don't know. You guys call. Oh, and Senator Hawley apparently today made clear that he was going to join members of the House of Representatives and Donald Trump to try and overturn the 2020 election and keep Donald Trump in the White House, which would be very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it because there's again, this is this historic thing where they're fighting for every vote, and I've been waiting for someone to do that for a long time, and I get why the senators don't want to do this. They don't want to back, some kind of overturn of the election, because now that's going to happen every election, which is awesome. Which means now every election somebody's going to be fighting for every vote. And I hope that that's what's happened. I hope this does set the precedent that this is the way we want to do business. We want to make sure that every last vote is counted and that the outcome is what the outcome should be. Not that I'm saying that Donald Trump won the election or anything like that, or that I even like Donald Trump. I can't stand Donald Trump. Can't stand Donald Trump just as much as I can't stand Joe Biden. Guaranteed. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play a video about what a dirty police officer looks like and get a bong hit ready. So if you guys are ready for a bong hit, I'll be back in just a sec, and we'll take a bong hit then. Again, if anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen, 805-669-6397. And I moved this to the front so you can hear exactly to the front of this clip. So it's for the next 10 seconds, you can hear exactly what a dirty cop sounds like, okay? Here you go. This is what a dirty cop sounds like that works in a very, very rich neighborhood.
Our survey found a small number of chiefs who don't want cameras, including on Mercer Island, one of Washington's wealthiest suburbs. Chief Ed Holmes says there are better ways for the money to build community trust.
I'm not sure that body cameras solve a whole lot of anything. I mean, even when people look at the footage, you have people interpreting what's happening differently.
Police body cameras can help provide valuable video and context, especially when interactions with the public involve use of force. Even though we live in a high-tech world, not every police agency uses those body cams. As Chris Ingalls shows us, the investigators spent nearly 5 months surveying virtually every department across the state.
You are watching me right now through an Axon Body Cam 2. And our investigation shows that in the near future, many more police officers across Washington could be wearing cameras just like this. In the early morning hours, a desperate call pierced police radios in East Wenatchee.
Shots fired, shots fired. 1DO18, shots fired, close air emergency traffic.
Responding officers from all around Douglas County in central Washington found that one of their own shot a man during a traffic stop.
15-11, do you have crime scene tape down there?
Cameron Ayers, wanted on a warrant for skipping a meeting with his parole officer, was dead at age 25, shot 3 times, sitting in the back seat of this Chevy Cavalier. The police department's story, what the officers told you and your family, did it add up?
They didn't have too much to say.
Jorge Busso is Ayers' older brother.
Their legal team stepped in pretty quick.
Rookie East Wenatchee police officer Katie Wilkins shot Ayers, saying his statements and movements were threatening. But 3 months after the September 2016 incident, the Douglas County prosecutor wrote, "I do not believe the shooting of Cameron Ayers by Officer Wilkins was clearly justifiable," citing conflicting information and inconsistencies.
It was resolved really, really quickly, kind of swept under the rug.
Officer Wilkins was not criminally charged, but the city fired her after only months on the job and paid a cash settlement to Ayers' father. At the time of the shooting, Officer Wilkins was not equipped with one of these, a self-contained, body-worn camera made especially for police officers. What do you think about that?
It would have made a difference, absolutely. It would have given us immediate, at least closure, or at least acceptance to the situation. But when you're left without any information, no evidence, no visual or audio, and you just allow your imagination to go wild with what little resources you have, it's traumatizing.
That was 2016. But even now, as the death of George Floyd in May spurs new calls for police accountability, we found interactions between law enforcement and the public across most of Washington state are not recorded. 213 police and sheriff's agencies, almost all of the departments statewide, participated in a King 5 survey that helped us zoom in on a clearer picture of body camera usage. We found that 160 departments in our state, 75%, do not have any body cameras. 25% reported they have at least one body camera in service. 21% told us they have at least one car-mounted dash camera that records video.
So did he use the weapon at all to threaten you?
No, he did not.
Kent is one city that does have body cameras. They were rolling on this domestic violence call earlier this month.
He's got the rifle in his hand.
The police cameras served as witnesses.
See that laser?
Yep.
See that?
Yep.
Get down, get down.
When officers say the 60-year-old suspect fired on them with a laser-scoped rifle.
Hey! Shots fired!
The fatal shooting is under investigation.
If my officers use excessive force, I need to know that right away, and the video helps me find that information sooner than later.
Kent Police Chief Rafael Padilla's department of 160 officers first strapped on body cameras about a year ago.
Complaints go down because everybody acts better on camera. Both people being contacted by officers and the officers wearing the cameras themselves.
We just turn it.
The purchase of the cameras themselves isn't a holdup for most law agencies, according to our survey. 61% of departments that don't have cameras cited the workload from data management, including responding to public records requests for video, as the reason why they can't afford them.
The city has had to hire basically 4 full-time employees to take on those separate components, and that is where the true work and expense comes in.
Many chiefs told us that police officers' unions, once opponents, have now embraced body cameras because they protect officers from false allegations.
I think people realize that after we all got them, at how beneficial it actually is for us to have.
Kent Officer Chelsea Pribble hopes the cameras will also build desperately needed trust, like with this African-American man who approaches to talk to an officer with his hands up.
It plays at your heartstrings because it's one of those things where you just don't know what to say. Like, it's a hard conversation to have, like, just right now, right? Like, I already am a little, like, because you just want to be trusted.
Go ahead and dock this right here.
The cost of equipment and staff for Kent's body cam program is $800,000 per year, paid for through fines from red light camera tickets. 138 police departments, 86% of the agencies without body cameras, cited financial barriers as the reason why. They say they can't pay for them.
This whole area right here is old, Roy. This has been around since 1908.
But Chief Darwin Armitage shows how it can be done even on a lean budget. Along with one other officer, he patrols the streets of Roy in Pierce County, population 823.
Seeing the writing on the wall, I figured I better take that step real quick before things get too expensive and unavailable.
As unrest and calls for police reform in big cities grew over the summer, the chief went shopping online.
Where did you go to get the camera?
Amazon.
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 The same place we all go to get.
Same place we all go to get. This camera right here cost me $99. This cost me $149, give or take.
Compare that with the $6,000 bid he got from a major manufacturer. Roy's new bottom dollar police cameras are about to hit the street.
My hope is to start December 15th, which is before the new year.
Our survey found a small number of chiefs who don't want cameras, including on Mercer Island, one of Washington's wealthiest suburbs. Chief Ed Holmes says there are better ways for the money to build community trust.
I'm not sure that body cameras solve a whole lot of anything. I mean, even when people look at the footage, you have people interpreting what's happening differently.
But more communities want them, and sheriffs and police chiefs are trying to get them. We found that of the 160 departments without cameras, about half, 51%, said they are actively pursuing body cameras. They're getting bids from manufacturers or seeking funding from city or county leaders.
What would you say to those city officials about how important a body camera is for a police officer?
It's paramount. I say go for it. It's a win-win for everybody.
It is important to note that within the past couple of months in East Wenatchee, where his brother was killed, all 21 officers have now been outfitted with body cameras, the entire department. We want to invite you to visit a database we created, the state's first ever comprehensive listing of body camera usage across all of Washington. It's searchable. You can actually click on your city, Renton, for example, and find out if officers have them. If not, why not? And you can text the keyword camera to 206-448-4545, and we'll send you a direct link to our new database.
All right, so I really found that exceptionally interesting, especially the whole part with this guy, this police chief who's like in one of the most expensive neighborhoods on the face of the planet, right? And he thinks that body cameras are not the way to go to make a connection with the community. Well, that's because he's got his hand out and he's already got that connection with the community, and they make that connection every time they get the chance. They put a little something in his hand so that so that they don't have to. We can just cut out the stupid courts and all the fucking bullshit. What's this going to cost me for a DUI? $10,000? Here you go, chief. I got it in cash at my house. You drive me back to my house and I'll let you have the cash. Ready? Follow me and do exactly as you see. By the way, people, I tried to watch that Reefer Madness movie. I was telling you guys yesterday that there was a new Reefer Madness, a 2005 remake version of it. It's not actually a remake. It's the Reefer Madness, the musical. I tried to watch it, and it was just too hard. I mean, that Kirsten Bell girl is so cute, but it was just too hard to watch. It's just, for me anyways, I couldn't get through it. And that's with the really cute girl, and it being about weed. So, but again, as you know, the whole vilify marijuana thing. Marijuana's bad, okay? Okay, so if anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen. The number is 805-669-6397. And otherwise, I have many more videos for you to play tonight. I will be happy to play them. We're wondering if you think we should do a show tomorrow night. If we don't get some calls saying, yeah, man, let's do a show tomorrow night, then there's no reason to do a show tomorrow night. So, again, the number is right there, 805-669-6397. If you'd like to do, if you'd like to start off the new year with the call-in show, I know, again, a lot of people don't have anywhere to go. Usually, even a lot of times, a lot of people don't go anywhere. Like I said, I don't go anywhere on New Year's, 4th of July, fireworks. The dogs don't like fireworks. I got to take care of the dogs. A man has got to have priorities, right? If you're used to, for a lot of people who are used to going out on New Year's, which I used to always go out, this year may be different. There might not be anywhere to go. So that's partially why I'm thinking about doing a live call-in show tomorrow, so we can, kind of bring in the new year together, have a little online party, so to speak, as we always do when we have these online sessions. We have a little online party going. So I'm going to go ahead and play another video clip for you guys, unless I have a caller, which I don't have a caller at the moment. So I'm going to play a video clip about a nurse who tests positive for COVID-19 after receiving the vaccine, because I thought you guys might want to know about that, since I'm not hearing a lot about it in the mainstream.
A nurse who was one of the first to receive Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine in San Antonio tested positive for the virus after getting the first dose. That nurse works directly with COVID patients, and she tested positive about a week after receiving the vaccine. Doctors say the nurse did not get COVID because of the vaccine. It's because she got exposed to the virus when she was not fully immune. It's a lesson that nurse hopes everyone will learn.
I just don't want people to think that you can't get it still. Like, you're going to get vaccinated, you get this one vaccine, and you're good for the rest of the time. You still have to social distance. You still have to wear your mask.
The nurse says her family is currently waiting for COVID test results after they gathered for Christmas. She gets the next dose of the vaccine a week from tomorrow on January 7th.
That nurse's message is one health experts are also reiterating this afternoon. Doctors are confident the vaccine will help end the pandemic, but it's still too soon to lower our guards around social distancing and wearing masks. Allison Mechanic with our sister station in Portland has the warning from doctors.
The coronavirus vaccine has brought hope to the world, but there's still a lot doctors don't know about it. One major question they're working through: can those who get the vaccine be a catalyst for the virus?
What we don't know yet, and what I hope we'll learn, is whether or not that means the virus can still hang around in your nose and throat and potentially be spread to other people.
Doctors say this isn't a first. They've seen the same issue with influenza vaccines. But because the coronavirus has killed 1,449 people in Oregon, it's a reminder that the vaccine alone won't stop the virus from spreading.
At least for now, being vaccinated does not mean that you can stop using masks and stop distancing and limiting interactions.
Especially because those who are currently getting the vaccine are healthcare workers on the front lines, fighting the virus directly.
We have to be aware, at least for the next few months, there are people who have been vaccinated who are going to be around other people who are not vaccinated, whether they go to the hospital or perhaps in their own household.
So until enough people are vaccinated, mask wearing and social distancing won't be going away.
Allison also asked doctors what percentage of people need to be vaccinated in order for safety measures to be relaxed. They said there's no clear answer right now. Some believe 50% is enough, while others say 90%.
A live look at SeaTac Airport this afternoon. For the fourth day in a row, the TSA says more than 1 million people went through airport security checkpoints across the country. A spike in travel during the pandemic is now raising public health concerns after checkpoint traffic exceeded 1 million people in 8 of the last 12 days. Sunday was the single busiest day since the pandemic started, and the lowest point was back on April 14th. On that day, only about 87,000 people flew in the U.S.
All right, so let's see. And again, I have another video also about. Well, I thought you guys want to see that. I haven't seen anybody else really talking about this nurse that tested positive for COVID-19 after she got vaccinated, which they're saying has nothing to do with the vaccination, blah, blah, blah. But still, you'd think there'd be some reporting on it since there's some here locally, but whatever. And then I have another video here about a park ranger who tasered a man who said that he was trying to socially distance, so he walked off the trail in order to kind of walk around people that were on a trail. Anybody who's been out in a park, in wilderness type areas, if you're walking on a trail, they can be very narrow sometimes, and it can be impossible to social distance. So, and then apparently this guy, I mean, when you see this video, you can see it. This guy is absolutely no threat to this park ranger whatsoever. And this park ranger, and he's a native American, which I don't know that it should make any difference about Native Americans being, in a national park, off the trail, whatever. But if you just look at him and you pay attention to what he's saying, what he's doing, he's not a threat to anyone ever. It's like impossible to imagine him being a threat to anyone ever, let alone this 6'5" park ranger guy who can't wait to use his weapons on somebody, apparently. And why are we staffing all these fucking predator type people in positions of power where they can actually abuse people? So I'll play that for you now. Park ranger tasers this guy who's absolutely no threat to him because apparently he can. He can do it and he can get away with it, and that's the reason why.
Well, now to this. Video posted on social media shows a ranger tasing a Native American man as he hiked in a national park. The man claims that he was tased for going off the trail to socially distance from others.
News Nation reporter Courtney Allen spoke with the man who says the ranger's response was not justified.
A man tased to the ground at the Petroglyph National Monument yesterday who says all he was trying to do was avoid a large group on the trailhead.
I'm assuming that this was because of the holiday break, and I'm assuming that people were here on vacation, so that's why there was a big group. And to avoid that group, I just cut across.
Marine veteran and Native American Daryl House says he went off trail yesterday, first to pray, then he noticed a park ranger following him. He says he got off a second time to avoid a group of 10 people, and that's when the ranger confronted him.
I don't want to ID myself.
House says he refused to give up his ID to the park ranger because he felt he did nothing wrong. Then he says the ranger tased him and his 8-pound toy poodle.
I was holding my dog, so my dog got tased as well. He felt the shock. He felt everything, and I ended up dropping him when I fell.
House says he frequents the park several times a month, going off trail, saying he's never had issues before until now.
I am going to continue doing my prayers, going off trail, without permission, without consent, because that's my right.
Courtney Allen, News Nation.
National Park Service officials have released a statement saying they will conduct a full investigation. Quote, while we work to gather the facts of this specific situation, we cannot speculate on the events leading up to what was captured on video. We take any allegation of wrongdoing very seriously and appreciate the public's patience as we gather the facts.
Guy's just laying on the ground screaming like a little girl, bawling his eyes out, and the cop is just continuing to push him and shove him with the taser. And who knows if the taser was in him and if he was, hitting the button and fucking zapping him the whole time or what. But again, that guy was clearly no threat to anyone in his entire life, let alone this 6'5" wannabe fucking Marine oorah, can't get my fucking sides of my hair any fucking shorter, piece of shit who has to fucking taser somebody because he can. The sole reason. Not because he was somehow threatened by that guy and he needed to get him under control. Because he can. Obviously, the sole reason. And this is, again, this is where it has to be, people have to be held to a higher standard. When you give someone this power over other people, and then you see them using that power to torture them for absolutely no reason, except for they think they can get away with it, those people need to be punished to the point of making an example of them. Okay? The same way I feel about, war profiteers. And dirty politicians, dirty cops. Apparently, the phones were messed up at the start of the show. They are working properly now. If anybody wants to call, the number is right there on the screen, 805-669-6397. So, the phones are working now. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Stay from New York?
Hey, Dave, it's going okay. How about you?
Not bad, not bad. It's really mild this winter. It's beautiful. I can't complain.
Right on. Yeah, I say that every day when I walk the dogs and I see people. I have like 15 people a day, 20 people a day that say hi to me while I walk the dogs, and I'm just like, it's another perfect Northwest afternoon. It was raining today, but it's still, it's another perfect Northwest afternoon. Because they ask you how you're doing, and I'm like, hey, how much more can a guy ask for?
Yeah. And up here, we do have winters sometimes where we don't get a lot of snow, so those are kind of nice. Other times I like a lot of snow, but I was checking out that video, the guy gets tased, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of things nobody's saying about that kind of thing, and that is, in some of these places, the tribes still have the right to do ceremony and stuff on their ancestral lands.
Sure.
And I happened to be in a few parks like that. In Arizona one time, I asked to do, I said, hey, would you mind if we went into these, into these caves where, people weren't supposed to be. And the park ranger was super cool because, we caught a vibe, right? And I just said, hey, I came a long way. I'm here and I'm just doing this thing. And she's like, yeah, no problem. She says, go ahead.
And that's how a park ranger should be, because literally a park ranger, somebody who's a park ranger, they are living the dream. Okay, that's something that they dreamed of becoming, and now they're living their dream. And if they dreamed of becoming that so that they could hold power over people and treat them like shit and make sure everybody knows who's in charge, then that's a really shitty dream to have. But if you want to be a park ranger and show everybody, or protect the beautiful wildlife and everything, that's a really cool dream to have. So
yeah. Normally, park rangers are like the coolest cops we have.
Right.
They're beyond, like the incident where they shut down the road when Trump was going to Rushmore. Those park rangers were super cool, and they were like, "Hey, look, man, it's out of our hands," because these other agencies showed up. See?
Yeah.
They said, if it was up to us, it's not, whatever. They understand up there. But also the other incident was in Standing Rock when the tribe said, hey, that's our ancestral land. We're definitely allowed to go have ceremony there. You guys can't do anything about it. So they went up there and arrested all of them. And the news was flooded with, yeah, that's not their land, and all the propaganda came out. Well, guess what? Another year and a half down the road after, I don't remember how many people, like 70 people charged with a felony.
Yeah.
And guess what? It was in the treaty. This is all fine. All the charges are dropped. So it's just, there's perceptions out there that just aren't right. And, it's a huge part of what I think the reset for this country needs to be is just honor the treaties. That's all you have to do.
It's not just that. It's to recognize really who the enemy is, who the real, because these people, these people who act like they're the heroes, the cops, who are going around enforcing bullshit laws, the politicians who go around making bullshit laws, they're nobody's heroes. They're there to protect our rights, and they're doing the opposite. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
that dude was a dick. That dude in the video is a total dick, and everybody can see it.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, that guy needs to not have that job anymore.
Yeah, and by the way, there's a big movement too in auditing, teaching police on the street, veterans on the street, teaching police. Don't ask me for my ID unless you are suspecting me of a crime.
Well, yeah, don't hassle me. Why are you hassling me, man? Is that fucking simple? Why are you hassling me?
Right.
You got a reason to fucking hassle me? And you can't. And the second you ask them that question, they are so fucking on the defensive that if you don't get a gun drawn on you, you're extremely lucky.
Well, there's tons of auditors out there that are, been arrested, falsely. They won lawsuits and they keep doing it. And, the cops keep trying different stuff, and it's this back and forth thing going on. But basically, a lot of people just don't know their basic rights, and that is, unless you're suspected of a crime, you do not have to show proof of identification to, this isn't a papers on demand situation here. The cops just do that, It's not in the law, but they do it. So, and the more we let them get away with, the more they push it, and they'll keep pushing until they're in your house.
Which again is why I keep saying we have to hold certain people of power to a higher standard, so that the people of power, who come behind them understand. You're not here to fuck around. You're here because you have a very important job to do, and if you start fucking around, we can make an example of you.
Yeah, you're using your authority to beat up people so you can get physical therapy for the treatment you got from your father is not acceptable.
Right, and it's really not good. It's not good therapy either.
And it's horrible. And it's just this is what's going on. These guys just walk around with chips on their shoulder and they just beat people up and they think they're tough and they go back and yuck it up at the locker room. It's sick.
Yeah, I see the guy that killed Eric Garner, right? The guy who put him in a chokehold and choked him to death.
Yeah.
That guy, fucking 60 seconds after, there's people filming him walk around 60 seconds after he's off the top of Eric Garner, and he's flashing a peace sign saying, "I'm going to Disneyland." Because he knows he's getting his fucking desk job or whatever, getting on, the fucking whatever bullshit that they do. That guy murdered Eric Garner in front of the whole world, just like they murdered George Floyd, and nothing fucking happens to those people.
That's right. And the worst thing we ever did was we allowed police departments. They're not in the Constitution. Sheriffs are supposed to be elected. So that the chief of the police is an elected position, but the cities decided, well, we were going to have our own police department because we don't agree with the sheriff. So it was a breakaway move, kind of like what Trump is trying to do now. It's like, well, we don't really like the way you guys run your election, so we're just going to start appointing people. And that's not how it works. The sheriffs are supposed to be elected. I'd really like to see that go back, because that way, if a department is all messed up, you can just, okay, dude, you're done.
Yeah, I hear you. They just changed that here in Seattle, where the city council now decides who the sheriff is going to be, and that really was something that bothered me a lot. So I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, no, the sheriff is supposed to be elected by the people, not other elected officials. And, the way it is now, that's an appointment. That's not an election.
Right.
So. That's definitely in the Constitution, and every sheriff will tell you that. If you ask a sheriff, they know about that, and that's why they don't wear blue. By the way, when people say "back the blue" or "bareback the blue," in the case of the auditors, blue is not the color of the sheriff. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that sheriff's departments are that much better. Some of them could be really nasty too.
Yeah.
But if people had more attention to it and they'd realize, it's like, hey, how many people have ever voted in a sheriff's election? You know, so you know, you got to get back to the micro too. You know, forget that sometimes just trying to understand these higher positions is really not a good place to start for people. I think they should start locally with their judges and their sheriffs, learn those elections, get control of that, and then move your way up and purge all the, you know, the higher ups, because really the higher ups can't do shit without the support network. So you start the grassroots, get the sheriffs, get the right sheriffs in there. They don't have to have law enforcement experience. They can be anybody. So if you just want to change the entire, you know, operational mindset of your sheriff's department, then get somebody in there that can do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. If you don't like it, yeah, I agree. I think that and this way the police are answering to the people, because right now the police are not answering to the people for their crimes. They do their crimes and then they act completely justified, and like there is no one to hold them accountable. Go ahead.
That's right, because the police are appointed by the mayors of the cities, and they work for the mayor personally. And in that process, the police have a contract with the city, which dictates how these unions are run. So, you know, these union contracts are negotiated with the city, not the people. So if you have a sheriff, then that's a directly elected by the people, and you know, those contracts and that could be fought off too. And, you know, getting the right sheriffs in there is going to help a lot to do that. If people had the mind to do it, forget these, you know, forget the commercials for the big guys, you know, go for the sheriff and go for the judges, get the big guys later. I don't know. That's just my take. And the guy in the park, I think part of that was an audit, that this guy definitely knew his rights, and that's why he wasn't, surrendering his identification, because he wasn't required to.
Right.
He was not at that time committing a crime, even though he was off the trail. That would only be considered trespassing, and the sheriff and the guy could order him, you know, to not do that. But even then, if he was a tribal member and they did have rights to perform ceremony there, then there's nothing the guy could do. He could just say, no, I'm a tribal member and we're performing, you know, we're observing our religious freedom that you're always screaming about, the cop haircut guy.
You know, it seems like, you know, that, and again, coming back to what I keep pointing out about the video, to me, is that guy, I don't think he's ever been a threat to anyone in his entire life. You know?
No. The guy, you know, a guy that owns a dog like that is not generally the guy you're worried about. And I'm just, you know, not doggy profiling. I'm just saying, usually, you know, guys that own, you know, poodle, whatever that thing, would it look like one of those Shih Tzu crosses with the poodles? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, generally not, you know, not an intimidating type of person that is walking a dog like that with his girlfriend out in a park by themselves, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional threat assessment guy, but I'm thinking, you know, I'm probably not whipping out my weapons for that right away.
It just seems like if you just talk to him a little bit sternly, he's probably going to start to cry. So I don't understand why you got to pull the taser out. You know, it's like, although you know, he was brave enough to tell the cop to fuck off. You know, when the cop was demanding his ID. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Part of that was an audit. A lot of, you know, you could tell. Certain times you can tell when people have been learning their rights and trying to enforce them, and police are very resistant to this, even though it's correct. They're very resistant. So there's a lot of false arrest out there going on because people don't present identification. They say, you know, well, you have to present ID or I'm going to take you into custody. And it's like, well, if you do that, I can sue your department. And they do it anyway. So the cops just make shit up And then if their superiors back them up, there's nothing you could do, but there's not gonna be any crime because you didn't commit a crime.
But that's a big part of the problem is that the cops don't care if what the law is. You know, they don't care
if authority.
They don't care what the law is, and they're not there to really. I don't think they're there to enforce laws so much as to protect people's rights. You know, if we're looking at this from the correct standpoint, they should be there making sure that, you know, these people aren't getting fucked by somebody else. It's not a matter of, you know, because they're really not doing their job, especially when it comes to this crime prevention shit and, you know, investigation. They're just not doing that. Otherwise, there'd be a lot less crime. So, and we see that in every city across the United States, as far as I can tell. So, and then there's this, we can't defund the police. Why not? They're not doing their fucking jobs, you know, and they're not even, and they're not trying to be part of the community. While they're not doing their job, they're not acting like, we want to build a relationship with the community. We want everybody to know. I want you to know who my name is. If I was a cop walking on this fucking beat, or, you know, and this is going to be my neighborhood, I'm going to walk around. I'm going to tell everybody my name, you know. I just it's I don't know if it's a different world or if it's just the cops are as dirty, you know, they're not much better than the criminals, is the way I see it, really.
Oh, they're actually worse. I mean, I've got personal experience catching cops that are in on, you know, fencing rings and drugs and shit. Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Of course they do, you know, especially the old school guys. I mean, they, you know, they just, they're like, I've been out here for 20 years. I deserve a little more, you know, and they're more about their authority than they are the law or the people's safety. They're burned out. They don't give a shit about that anymore. They're like, nah, I'm a made dude. Nobody's going to throw me in jail. I can do whatever I want out here. I'm sick of these people, you know. Yeah. They're tired of, you know, they just they're not cut out for the job.
And the thing is you can only push people so much too, you know, and people start to push back. People push back, and that's really a good thing, because you shouldn't be pushing people. You know, I mean, you should have this relationship where you walk up, you know, and everybody doesn't go, you know, everybody stands up straight and says, "Officers, police, what can I do for you, officer?" You know, it's like, "Hey, Dave, this dude's over here. We don't know who the fuck this is, and he's acting all cray cray." You know, I mean, that should be how an interaction with police goes, not this fucking, you know, yes sir, no sir, 3 miles high, sir, you know. Yeah. We're the people, not soldiers. And you're not our commander. You're a public safety officer. Right. That's it. Yeah, this comply or die fucking attitude is exactly what's happening, and that's indicative too. The whole thing has gone from service based, which is what I think a lot of us grew up with, to authoritarian based, where now government feels like an authority. Even the little government, even the little towns, you know, it's like, we're in charge around here. You know, it's like, wait a minute. That's not the way it's designed. You're supposed to, like, it's a government job in a bureaucracy. We want you to be content, but not ecstatic. It's not a privilege. It's a service. Yeah. And you're not in authority. You're in service. And so they all want to feel like they've got authority instead of we've got an obligation and a duty. That's the problem. Yeah, I don't see any real obligation there at all, and that is a huge problem. Yeah. And they should. I mean, they should have to live in the communities where they work and stuff. You know, all that kind of stuff. That is so important. Yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you. Like in Minneapolis, they found out, what was it, like 80% of the cops there live outside the city limits. It's like, are you kidding me? They don't even know these people. They have no investment in the community. They could give a shit, you know, and that's really horrible. You definitely don't want that. If you elect a guy, you know, we want to know that he's from this country, at least, right? And then if you elect a guy in your town, you want to know that he's from your town. You don't want to elect somebody from somebody else's town.
No, you got the people you need are right there where you are, especially in the big cities. They shouldn't have to outsource anything like that. You got plenty of people right where you are.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. It seems like there's plenty of people to choose from, and it should be this job, that really nobody kind of wants, but certain people, certain people are drawn to, like, it's their responsibility to make sure that their town is safe.
Well, not for nothing, they're the best paying jobs with the best benefits. So that's why that's that way, because we know nobody wants this job. But the problem now is the people that want the job are seeking authority, and the people that would be really good at it are going, no, I'm not glad, no thanks.
Well, you don't want to work next to people that make you look bad.
Right.
That's not like I mean, it's like with the fucking people in Congress, they keep talking about how they have to reach across the aisle to make deals and stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't want somebody representing me fucking working to make a deal with the goddamn war criminal, okay? It's that fucking simple,
Right. Yeah.
And I don't care. And I don't care if it has nothing to do with war or not. I don't want you fucking making a deal with a fucking war criminal. What I want you standing on the fucking floor of Congress every day saying, that man is a war profiteer. And all the rest of you war profiteers need to get the fuck out of this job.
That's right. Say it every day if you have to. That's right.
And where is that guy? Again, I have never felt as if I've been represented by any member of Congress in my lifetime, so we're clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't either, although personally, I mean, I'm kind of on the fringe of society. I'm not really a full member, so I don't really feel like that.
You want to like people, I mean, you want to. I want there to be somebody in Congress who I can like. I want like Ron Paul, like Dennis Kucinich, like Tulsi Gabbard. I want desperately people that I can feel like, oh, at least we got that guy, or that amazing woman. But we, I just, it's not enough. It's not genuine representation in any way.
Yeah. I did see there's this one lady who just got in, I think, into Congress out of Minnesota. Can't remember her name. I'm horrible with the names, but she looked like another, very good grassroots type politician. And that's all I really, for me, it's like, look, if it's somebody that has, had a difficult life and they understand what, goes on in the daily lives of people, I think that's all, it's as much as I can ask for at this point in time. I just, these guys that are, brought up with the silver spoon, it's kind of time for them to step aside. They've had their chance and it didn't work out. I don't like the churches being involved. They've had their chance for sure. Their product is obvious. So now they haven't helped bring in morality. They did the opposite, in fact. So I see, Donald Trump and the morality surrounded, with all the people that surrounded him. No, there's your product of your 2,000 years of Christianity right there at its apex, and there it is. There's your product. These guys will do anything to, they got to go. Just get some good, working class people in there. Get enough of them to clean it up. Yeah, no more war. We're all done with the war. I think we conquered everybody. There's nobody left, by the way. We're starting to have to go back and reconquer people for the 5th time and shit. It's like, come on. How come we're not trading? How come there's no war between Bolivia and Mexico? How come there's no war? But there's no war on our side of the world. I think I'm all done with the other side of the world. By the way, I'm pretty sure that's why my ancestors came all the way over here. They wanted to get as far away from them assholes as possible. They were always fighting over there.
People are crazy.
You can't do so. Yeah, well, yeah. There's a monarchy system over there. Get rid of the monarchs. There's no monarchs over here. Well, Canada's got a monarch, but get rid of them. Stay over here and let's focus on the Western Hemisphere. We've got the Garden of Eden going all the way from Chile to the, up to the Yukon. We might as well just hang out over here. We're cool. We don't need to go anywhere. The United States is one of the most defensible land masses on the planet. We don't need to go anywhere. Our neighbors are fine. They're not attacking us. Why are we so constantly absorbed with this war? It doesn't make any sense.
And it's not what the people want. The people don't want that. And the people who do act as if they want it are clearly brainwashed. But when you the people don't want this. I think it's reaching this place where it's going to become really obvious, that we have to have other priorities. I think that's what 9/11 was all about. Was that people were, they were beginning to do this big fucking shutdown of the military. Under Bill Clinton, they were mothballing fucking bases left and right, and all of a sudden, we have to have the military, and it has to be funded bigger and stronger and better than ever before. This is what you get when you cut the military budget.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I don't buy any of that. 9/11 is, as far as I'm concerned, has never been properly investigated, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist. That also gets thrown into a lot of the conspiracy theory pile that it doesn't belong in, because there are some crazy conspiracy theories out there, but there's also a lot of them that are very true, and of them, 9/11 is certainly the least investigated and it has the most weight behind it, because there are literally thousands and thousands of ex-intelligence people, ex-military people, architects, engineers, pilots, you name it, right down to even me. I'm just a fuel specialist, but I've worked with concrete and rebar almost my whole life. So it's like, what are you kidding me? Most of these airplanes, you can walk up and stick a screwdriver in them. So there's something not right, and there's a few competing theories, but we know for sure. The one we know for sure that's the craziest conspiracy theory of all is the one the government told us. That we know for sure. And people are still working on that, by the way. I know there's a couple of fire departments near New York that just joined the lawsuit and signed on and are in favor of a new investigation. So it's not going away.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard said that she was in favor of a new investigation. I think that it hasn't gone away, and basically we have to get some of these dinosaurs out of the way. The gatekeepers need to be buried. Basically, we don't need them anymore. They're not adding anything to us. And as soon as we can get rid of about half of them, I think we'll be able to sidestep the rest of them, and then actually maybe. But what, we're gonna go back and hold Dick Cheney accountable? Dick Cheney fucking dead.
No. If he's still alive, if we can get there. But I think the bigger thing is just tell the truth. And I don't really care about the personal. If we tell that truth, if that truth gets uncovered, that's the revolution. You don't need anything else other than that.
I think I think truth is the most important thing. Government lying to us endlessly is. It's just the government lying to us, the media lying to us, the police lying to us, the for-profit medical industrial complex lying to us. It's just this endless fucking bullshit. So, and we can do so much better.
I think it's like the United States. We broke away from the monarchy, but we haven't finished the job. That doesn't, that's the only thing I can think of that explains why we're so fixated on, this whole system going on overseas, right? We're constantly over there in the middle of all this stuff. Like, why would that even be a thing? Why would we why isn't Bolivia, fighting all the wars? Why are we any different than any of the other countries in our hemisphere? Why are we so aggressive and militaristic and so, much basically muscle? And I think, we got slow conned by the monarchy. They play the long game, and people here, they don't plan long term. They don't plan long term. They don't think like that. We don't have the same intelligence as they do. We don't operate the same way, and we don't think like them. They're able to outmaneuver us every day of the week.
Right. Well,
Absolutely.
I think
and it's
when you
obvious across the board.
When you say that we don't think like them, they don't think like us. I think that one of the real important things that needs to be established is that we have to come to the mindset or the understanding as a species that to profit from war is an extreme mental illness. And that we should probably deal with it with the most extreme prejudice possible, either locking those people away for the rest of their lives in order to make sure that they don't harm society in some ridiculous manner, just so that they can profit from it, or literally, I think the war profiteers should just be taken out and shot.
Yeah, and I'm not speaking of the people, of course. I'm speaking strictly of the heredity-based monarchies that are in charge and constantly playing musical chairs with, properties and whatnot. The British Empire still owns 55% of the world's shorelines, I think it is, and Australia thinks they're a free, independent country, and they're not. Canada thinks they're a free, independent country. They're not. Their prime minister can be fired tomorrow by the governor general who works directly for the Queen. He's appointed. He can fire him if he wants to. As long as they stay in line, they won't be fired, but they work within strict parameters. And that's why, like our outfits that we have, like Five Eyes, it's not Five Eyes, it's Britain and us. It's not Five Eyes, but they want to make it sound like, oh, there's a whole bunch of countries involved. No, all those countries are called, they're realms, Commonwealth realms. So the Queen is the head of state and their militaries. And like Australia found out, if you don't do your budget correctly, well, the Governor General will fire you. And that's exactly what happened. The Prime Minister of Australia was fired. Pretty interesting. I don't know. I get into a little bit of history, but yeah, back in the Nixon days, when Nixon started the DEA, the whole drug war, right? This is where it all started. Nixon got booted out of office. The Prime Minister of Australia was fired. And then Juan Carlos came back in, and now he's in Spain. And, of course, the cocaine comes from Colombia, which was New Grenada. And this was Spain's territory, and we're supposed to belong to Britain. And as far as I can tell, it kind of looks like we still do, because people don't think we do, so we don't do anything about it. But strangely enough, we seem to be doing everything that's really good for them.
Yeah.
And I find that very strange. So, my family goes back to the revolution, so I kind of got interested in this stuff, started looking at it, and I'm going, this is kind of weird. How come we're citing papal bulls in our U.S. Supreme Court decisions as recently as 2007 to take land away from the indigenous people?
Yeah.
We're breaking treaties using the papal bull of 1492. What? In 2007 we doing this?
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's something wrong there.
There's something very wrong. Very, very wrong.
Yeah. And now we've really stacked up. And I don't want to, again, I've got tons of friends that are Catholics. One of my first mentors was a Catholic, had been through the seminary. I've known a lot of people, great people, but they have no idea what the general, they just turn a blind eye to what, again, another hereditary based monarchy system in the church. That's just another monarchy. That's all it is.
I think it's just religion in general is kind of I don't know.
Yeah, it's gotta go.
It's gotta
go.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just this way to separate us. It's meant to be this thing that joins us all together and fills us with love for our neighbors. And instead, it just separates us more and more and more. And it's what
religion,
value is that?
Yeah, I keep the two separate from spirituality. I see lots of spirituality no matter what people do. If that's your agenda, you can do it in any way, shape, fashion, or form.
Yeah.
However, once you organize a group and say, we're all going to do it this way, and all the people in our institution are going to be forced conversion, either by birth, by virtue that your parents are in it, you're forced into it, or by militaristic means, which they've done, throughout the ages. You just take over a property and force the conversion. And that's what happened here. And it's still going on, apparently. So it's still going on. It's a little more hidden. It's a little more subtle, but it's still going on. The assimilation programs are still going on. They're still highly active. That's what they're doing, period.
Yeah, I agree. So, I don't think anything has changed as far as the evil plan to fuck with the general population.
Evil plan.
I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean,
it is an evil plan.
Right. If you're holding back the species from evolving into the best it can be, in order for you to profit, there's nothing but evil about you. And it needs. You need to go. You can have the moon. We'll send you off to there. You can do whatever on the moon. Just don't come back here. You're not welcome.
Yeah. So anyway, well, all right, Mike. Well,
hey, Dave, do you think we should do a show tomorrow?
Sure. Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, do a show as much as you can, Mike.
Well, I think tomorrow we have an opportunity to do it, and it might be an interesting way to bring in the new year, and maybe some people will have things that they want to say and stuff, And sure. and since there's so little going on, it might be a place for a lot of people to come that don't have a place to come. Normally, they'd have somewhere to go on New Year's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be a great time to do a show. Do it, sure. The review of I think this whole COVID thing has been like everybody's had time to sit back and review. And normally the new year, even though I completely disagree, because I don't agree it's the new year, but we do a yearly review about this time of year. I think that's a natural process. Everybody does a review.
Well, it's just a day of celebration in general is basically.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
I don't. There does seem to be a reviewing process that goes on. It's like which is really good. A reflection of if it's done in the right frame of mind, a reflection upon everything that you have that's so amazing and wonderful and fills your world and makes life worth living. To be able to appreciate those things. A lot of times people are just way too busy, so it is really good to be able to take a minute and look at all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a natural cycle too. In the wintertime, when you get in the deep winter, it's like, okay, now let's review all the shit we did wrong last year and get ready for the spring so that we're organized and we can fix our mistakes. That's a part of a natural cycle, I think, for all species that live in the climates. Sure, absolutely.
All right, Dave. Well, then I hope we see you tomorrow.
Okay,
bro.
All right, Mike.
Stay cool, man.
Yep. See ya. Yep.
And that's our buddy Dave from New York. I'm going to play a quick video for you guys about, again, this is about the Nashville bomber girlfriend warning police that the Nashville bomber was making bombs in his RV. And they want to tell you, this guy was on nobody's radar, but here it is. This report states clearly that his girlfriend reported to police, and if the police don't have some kind of obligation to, when they get a report of someone building bombs, to contact the FBI, and then the police and the FBI want to go, oh, well, this guy was on nobody's radar, something's not connecting there. Those dots do not connect, if you guys get what I'm saying. So I wanted to point this out to you real quick. I'll be right back.
New details this afternoon are giving us a more in-depth look at the man authorities say detonated a bomb in downtown Nashville on Christmas Day. Last year, officers visited a home after Anthony Warner's girlfriend, Pamela Perry, made suicidal threats to her attorney on the phone. When officers arrived, they found 2 pistols, which Perry said belonged to Warner. She also told the officers Warner was building bombs in the RV trailer at his home. Police went to Warner's home and noticed the RV in the backyard, but they couldn't see inside the vehicle. They also tried to contact Warner several times, but he didn't open the door. Police did not see any evidence of a crime, so they had no authority to enter his property or search the RV.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am? You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
All right, so you guys watch this. If you guys watch me when I play that clip, I'm gonna have a bong if anybody wants to join me. By the way, when I play that clip right at the end, when that girl is just like digging her juice box so much, you watch me. I watch because I'm watching for the end of the clip. But as soon as she comes on and she is just loving that juice box out in the beautiful day in the park, it just makes me grin from ear to ear. So I want to play that clip forever. All right, so here we go. Follow me. Do exactly as you see. Woohoo! All right. Okay, so we got that going for us. But let's see. This is this thing where the cops aren't doing their job, right? This guy's girlfriend calls up and says he's building bombs in his RV. Okay, I mean the cops aren't doing their job, right? That one. Hello, caller.
Hey, Max, how's it going? This is Mantequilla.
Hey, all right, how about you?
I'm good. I'm
Right
I'm
on.
happy that somebody got the balls to come out and say, I want to repeal this. Because what I saw in Georgia, what I saw in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona is so wrong, dude. It's so wrong. I hope the vice president has the balls to actually accept the rejections and accept the appeals, though, because right now, believe it or not, Mike Pence might be the most powerful guy in the room on January 6th.
Yeah, well,
Quite literally.
yeah, I think he could become a very important player, but I think that I'm actually glad that this is playing out this way too, Manny, because I'd like to see more elections play out this way. This is the way that the 2000 election should have played out. George W. Bush should never have been put into the White House. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw a documentary about that because when the whole 2000 thing happened, I was in Mexico. So obviously, I mean, there was coverage of what was going on, but I was a little kid and I was more importantly watching cartoons.
Well, if you want to see how it works, okay, you can look up Michael Moore documentary Fahrenheit 9/11. And at the very beginning of the movie, it's all about how George W. Bush wasn't elected, and that there was members of Congress, of the House of Representatives, who stepped up and protested, saying that the election, we don't accept the results of the election. We want this election thrown out, and they needed one senator to back their motion so that it could go forward, and they didn't get a single senator, and George W. Bush was inserted into the White House by the Supreme Court.
Interesting.
Yeah, but if you want to see how that plays out, you can look at the beginning of Fahrenheit 9/11. And again, and the reason that I bring this up isn't just to point out, here's what it looks like, but to point out the fact that this does happen, and it has happened in our recent history. Okay, this thing where the news wants to act like, what is going on with these people saying they're going to contest the election? This happened in the year 2000. And if you want to see it, it's documented, I can't say beautifully, but it's documented okay at the beginning of the movie Fahrenheit 9/11 by Michael Moore. Are you feeling okay?
I'll look it up later.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want that to happen, though, because I want the drama, and I want Trump to continue, though. Biden is going to be boring
Biden's not going to be president for very long if Biden becomes president, dude. So.
Well, Kamala Harris is going to be a very boring woman.
Look, here's something that I can guarantee you, Manny, and that's pretty much that the last thing the first woman president is ever going to be is boring.
Yeah, she's boring.
She might be boring, but the presidency of the first female president of the United States, it will not be a boring thing. It will be fascinating.
Dude, everyone's gonna be kissing her ass, dude. That's what's gonna happen to me. You know what happened with Barack Obama, right? The media was literally kissing his ass, saying how wonderful he is, and putting people's magazine covers on him when he was president. The literally people preaching and praying at him. I saw that in 2008, but when I was young, when I was like 18, 19, the whole thing, Barack Obama election was happening. I couldn't vote back then because I wasn't a citizen, though, but I see like this weird cult of personality that follow Obama. Though.
Well, you don't see a weird cult of personality that follows Trump, dude. Are you kidding me?
I've seen that with the MAGA hat people and some of the QAnon for some reason. Trust the plan. Everything's gonna be alright.
He's the fucking second coming. Come on. So you know what I'm saying, Manny. It's not just Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was different. He wasn't some he wasn't like some guy that was born with a gold spoon in his mouth and had everything handed to him, and he wasn't some kind of destiny, a dynasty or whatever, and he wasn't white, so it was he was different. And the thing about it is that he was different. He was different, and so there was great hope for him to actually act differently. He didn't act differently than any of the presidents before him, and that was the real problem that you perceive as being boring. See, we all expected something. He had all the power in the world. He didn't just have the support of the American people. He had the support of the entire world. And they were like, oh, please, Mr. President, please, President Obama, make America great again. And he fucking just turned his back on all of us, dude. He could have done anything and did shit.
Yeah, I know. That's the weirdest part, though. Like, literally the whole world literally praised him like he was some sort of freaking god. I mean, I haven't seen this since the only place that I've seen this is actually with people that sell you like pyramid schemes. The guy in the top is always praying like he was some sort of like freaking second coming of Jesus. And the whole thing changed it. I was actually kind of cringy though.
Well, they fucking literally saying that about Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure he said it about himself since he's been in the White House. Come on, Manny, you know these things.
Yeah, I know. But I haven't seen that. I've seen the media attacking like crazy. Even for the smallest thing, like Trump might be something and might have sex and do something that we don't even know what happened yet. Type of thing on the articles on the news.
Well, yeah, the media has Trump derangement syndrome, and they've had it since, before he became president, so...
No, they had it when he came down the escalator and started attacking Mexicans.
Right, that would be before he became president, Manny. So, again, my statement was correct.
That's technically true. But yeah, no, I really hope that wins that way, though. And I want to see the whole process and the contingent process, though, because that will be interesting to see. Because once it becomes a continuous process, it's literally the states have one vote. Every single of the 50 states has one vote. So it's not based on number of representatives or number of senators. It's literally based on the number of states. California has one vote. Washington State has one vote. Idaho has one vote. Texas has one vote. So it will be like how many states are Republican compared to how many states are Democrats.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think they have one vote.
That's what I read, though. Like it becomes a one vote type of thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's correct. But yeah, it's a much more limited thing. It's going to be and I think it's going to come down to the senators, and there's 2 senators per state, so they're going to vote on whether or not to move forward with accepting the election results, registering it as, finalizing the election results. And apparently there's going to be a protest after finalizing the election results, the way I understand it at this point. So again, and in the Michael Moore movie, the Fahrenheit 9/11, at the beginning of that movie, when they protested George W. Bush election, the House of Representatives, they don't actually ever get a senator to stand up and support their protest. So I'm really kind of glad to see things turning out this way. I think it should be a fight like this all the time. I wish the primaries were more like this. I wish Bernie Sanders could have had the balls to protest the outcome of the primary somehow. Between him and Hillary Clinton. We probably wouldn't be having this discussion at all.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. Just want to say hi.
Hey, man, it's good to hear from you. Stay cool, man.
All right, man. You too. Bye.
See ya. Let's see. So again, I have a video now about Tamir Rice, and Tamir Rice was shot by police in Ohio. And the police had reports that there was a person in the park with a gun. And they rolled up on the scene, driving their squad car into the park, and in under 2 seconds of getting up on the grass, in between the trees and such, as where they could have stayed back and observed what was going on, which there's this little kid playing, cops and robbers or whatever in the park. And they could have gone, well, that's a kid playing cops and robbers. They could have seen, hey, there's nobody around this guy. Let's wait and see what it is he's doing. But no, there's these fucking adrenaline junkie fucking cops who are just like, oh, let's roll on this shit. And they're just fucking 5-0ing it up, man. Just blazing, just punching it as fast as they can right up into the center of the park. They were probably, well, of course, they were a much bigger danger to anyone that was in the park, anyone that was near Tamir Rice, than Tamir Rice was to anyone. Obviously, duh. Going blazing their car, then shooting a bunch of bullets unnecessarily, completely unnecessarily. And now the federal government says, oh, well, we can't press charges against these police officers because the video is grainy. Does that make sense to anybody? After what I just described about the cops putting everybody else in danger for absolutely no reason whatsoever? Yeah, because the video is grainy, we can't make examples of these cops who killed a 12-year-old boy that was playing in the park. The cops are supposed to be there to protect kids like that, not murder them. But we can't charge them, because then we might have to hold the next people accountable too. We don't want to do that, do we?
The Louisville Police Department is moving to fire 2 officers involved in the deadly raid on Breonna Taylor's home. An attorney for Detective Miles Cosgrove says his client has received a pre-termination letter. FBI concluded Detective Cosgrove fired the shot that killed Taylor. Meantime, the officer who secured the no-knock search warrant that led to the police raid of Taylor's apartment has received a pre-termination letter as well. The letter stated Detective Joshua Janes violated department procedures for preparation of a search warrant. That police raid back in March led to the fatal shooting of Taylor and sparked protests across the country about police misconduct. Janes was not present during that raid, and no drugs or cash were found in Taylor's home. Janes will have a hearing with the city's interim police chief on Thursday.
The Justice Department says it cannot bring federal criminal charges against 2 Ohio police officers for the deadly shooting of 12-year-old Tamir Rice. They say poor video quality is the reason prosecutors cannot clearly establish what happened. 2 police officers in Cleveland shot and killed Rice in 2017. He was playing with a pellet gun outside of a recreation center. News Nation reporter Suzanne Stratford has the latest.
The death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice sparked national outrage and many protests right here in Cleveland to this day. But the U.S. Department of Justice is now closing the investigation and will not be filing criminal charges against the 2 officers involved. In 2014, officers Timothy Lohman and Frank Garmbach were responding to reports of a man pointing a weapon at people near a rec center. But dispatchers failed to tell the police that the caller thought it could be a child with a toy gun. Moments after arriving, Officer Lohman fatally shot Tamir. The Department of Justice says the surveillance video was just too grainy and far away to determine whether or not Tamir was reaching for the pellet gun, as officers claimed. And with no other witnesses, they say there's insufficient evidence to support charges. A state grand jury also decided not to indict Lohman, who was later fired. But family attorneys have many questions about the DOJ's decision, including reports that some prosecutors quit over it, and they say Tamir's mom wasn't even notified properly, that it was blatantly disrespectful to her and her family.
It was blatantly disrespectful that I had to learn from the media that the Department of Justice had shut down the investigation after career prosecutors recommended a grand jury be convened. That was her statement. And it was terribly disrespectful. It's pretty clear that they have no interest in holding police officers accountable for anything.
Attorneys representing the family say they are not done fighting for justice, and they have already filed a letter with the DOJ requesting documents and answers. In Cleveland, reporting for News Nation, I'm Suzanne Stratford.
Police in Columbus, Ohio have released more information in the shooting death of Andre Hill. According to police records, another officer on scene did not perceive any threats and did not see Hill with a gun. That officer heard Officer Adam Coy, who is white, yell, quote, "There's a gun in his other hand," end quote, before then opening fire. Hill was seen holding up a cell phone before he was shot. City officials fired Coy following a hearing yesterday. Coy is still under criminal investigation.
Okay, so, arrest warrants being issued, no-knock warrants being issued to houses for absolutely no reason whatsoever, for people that they already have in custody, and the resulting of Breonna Taylor dying. A child playing in the park, a 12-year-old being killed. The cops are there. They're supposed to protect children. They're supposed to make the park safe for children to play, not murder the children playing in the park. Okay? The cops, again, what we're seeing again and again and again is the cops not doing their job. The Nashville bomber's girlfriend telling the police he's building bombs in his RV. Again, and then we want to hear all these reports from the FBI, from the police. Oh, he was nowhere on our radar. The police are not doing their fucking jobs. Anybody who wants to say, don't defund the police, well, get them to do their fucking jobs, and then maybe we shouldn't defund them. But until they start doing their fucking jobs, we got no reason to be paying them and treating them like they're the fucking heroes of our community. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mox. Yeah, all right, Moxie.
What's up, G?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I mean, geez, to me, the FBI is like they're literally the mafia. They're controlling the agenda through secret means and setting up. You just hear all these stories of them like working with these people, and it's just
sure. There's this guy in Nashville, when they say when they hear him say, oh well, this guy was on nobody's radar, and then we find out that his girlfriend had told the police he's building bombs in his RV. And the FBI want to say, oh, it's nowhere on anybody's radar. That sounds to me like, he's the perfect FBI patsy who they get told that he's building bombs, and then they go, oh, here, this is the shit you need, dude.
Right. Yeah. If we dug deeper, he probably got help from the FBI. I mean, that's on that level, on our national level, FBI, CIA. It just trickled down into our police. It's the corruption is so vast. The only way I really can explain it to people is that this is the consequence of being under attack. We're literally in the midst of World War III, and how long it's been going on. I mean, Rockefeller's early 20th century, easy pick. But this is the result of this. I don't know what you would call it. Where it's 5D chess warfare. This is it. We're moving into this great reset. At this point, we're probably going to. At this point, I would say bring on the robot police. At least they won't be killing 12-year-olds. At least they'll have the prime directive for now.
Well, they won't have this. They won't have this fear of death. This is the cops. Immediately the cops say, I feared for my life. Fuck you. That's your fucking job. Okay? If you're not able to fucking deal with that, then find a different fucking job, you piece of shit. Don't use that as some kind of fucking excuse.
Yeah, it's just fear. Everything can be, their ability to cover up the truth and manipulate the truth is so vast. So,
Yeah, generally,
fear.
Generally, the first thing that we find that cops do is they lie and start fucking changing, facts about what happened. So.
Yeah. That the reflex is with most health. This is the problem when you get money involved with health law enforcement, military. You're making profit off basic human rights. You want to, how we have allowed that as a species is just, it blows my mind. But yeah, this is the result of that type of corruption, which I think at the end of the day, of course, it was tactical, and hence why it's everywhere, and everyone's just kind of baffled on what's happening. It's a terrible, terrible situation.
It's just the programming. I mean, there's just this whole, I was talking about yesterday from the beginning. From where we start as little beings on this planet, we're just misprogrammed from the very start. And then there's just so much misinformation that even if we had a clue as to what's going on in reality, we're so misinformed that it's likely we wouldn't be able to move in the right direction even if we had a clue, because
you're right, and we have absolute evidence of this when you're having you're having logical, rational discussion about the corruption. People are not able to recognize it. So somewhere in their unconscious, a survival instinct has been removed somehow. I
it's
hear
the programming. Yeah, go ahead.
How Alex Jones talks about how when the conquistadors were invading, the indigenous people couldn't see the boats because they had no reference point or no recognition. I do believe that's some of the case here. The programming, absolutely. I mean, this is Skinner. This is behaviorism. Get to the children.
Right.
They know that if they watch a certain amount of TV, they go to school a certain amount of time, their unconscious will be programmed that way, and the unconscious will guide the conscious mind without the conscious mind knowing it's being guided from the unconscious. This is really one of the biggest conspiracies, and that's in psychology.
Yeah.
And psychology is just as bad, probably even worse, I would say, than the medical field where everything's inverted. They're not telling us about any type of enlightenment.
Yeah.
They're actually going the opposite way, where we're volunteering into this matrix to the point where we're literally giving up our immune system. I mean, just so quickly, we're going to be held at gunpoint, giving up our immune system for the idea that it's here to make us safe. So that's why everything's inverted. So this tyranny is coming with medical safety behind it. I couldn't think of anything more dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. I referenced this movie V for Vendetta again and again because this is.
I was thinking about that movie the other day.
Yeah,
the scene where he's basically telling them that we're under biological attack.
Yeah.
I definitely do believe that. I do believe we are on biological attack, and that is the cultural gun, the world gun to our species' head to push us into this matrix and reset. So.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're pushing us into a corner, right? And that they believe somehow that they have drugged us down to where we're not this wild beast that they're pushing into a corner.
Right.
That
right.
we're just
absolutely.
this.
They're making their move.
Right.
The drugging.
That they've numbed us down with the programming, and there's fucking drugs in the tap water. Okay, if you don't believe that, just type in pharmaceuticals in tap water.
Antipsychotics in the water.
Okay,
the water totally contaminated with fluoride. I mean,
But the thing is that this species isn't really tameable, and no matter how much it looks like it's been tamed,
no, not at all.
I don't think
at the Georgia Guidestone level of 500,000, maybe we could be tameable.
It's why the cops are so afraid, because the cops when they act like they're in constant fear for their life.
No, you're right.
It's
you're
because
right. Deep down in their psyche,
They recognize that they are dealing with the most fierce being on the face of the planet, and at any moment, in just the blink of an eye, that you can take out anybody. You know, if you actually who you are to the core, you know, wild beast that you were meant to be. You know, and I don't mean wild beast. I mean, you know, an unrestrained being who can act in any way at any moment, at any given moment in time. You know, and that's a lot of what we've given up. That's a lot of what we've given up, and we call being civilized. But it's really not, and we really haven't given it up. So you guys know. Go ahead.
No, you got it. I mean, the evidence is we're literally volunteering to change our genetic code. They've been changing the genetic code agriculturally with GMO. So they slowly changing our cellular. The vaccine's the big hoo-ha. I mean, that's where we cross the Rubicon, so to speak, because your physiology will be addicted to the vaccine, right? You'll need to take the vaccine because you've changed your body or got it addicted to it. And, you know, yeah, no, it's very true. I think, you know, for cops, it's just, you know, one thing that I've noticed during this past year, a lot of people can't even recognize when they should stand down. You know, I mean, literally people saying stand down and using lethal force. And again, they're not able to recognize it. It's really a strange phenomenon to me. That could be a result of so much anger, so much, so much rage. They're in fight or flight.
There's a desensitization to the violence. See, generally the reason you would stand down is because you don't want to have to exert. The reason you would stand down is because you don't want to have to exert to the violence. But there's been this desensitization to the violence, and now everybody is basically just walking zombies. So it's okay to take out a zombie.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
I just remember the horror movies coming out in the '80s. You know, and it was those things made me sick. You know, when I first saw them, and I remember my group of friends.
They were shocking. They were so shocking when they first came out. Right. The zombie movies where they're just like exploding people's heads with shotguns and shit.
Right.
It was like, oh my God. You know, I'd never seen no shit like that before. You know.
Right, and as you said, it's like they've taken away our survival skill. You know, because when we see death and violence, we should feel repulsed and want to stop it immediately. But now we've become so desensitized, which allows them to do all this crime and murder. And I really think artificial intelligence is running the media conglomerate. It's absolutely an octopus. And I think AI is running it. And I can't explain in any other way the ability to censor, literally like shadow critical thinking, you know, getting a few items together and learning how to put them together so people can critically think. This is not happening at all. It's a very sophisticated process.
It's very sophisticated, and they've been working at it for quite some time. And I think that they're starting to get pretty darn good at it. But there's been a number of things that have, you know, kind of got in their way. You know, like the free exchange of information and such.
I mean, even look at, you know, it's so strange. You know, Alex Jones talks about this too. That it's like almost a metaphysical contract, literally like the devil lexicon. He literally has to, in the writing, somewhere in the small detail, he's got to tell you exactly what he's going to do to you. And if you don't really spend the time and look at it, critically think, it's okay for them to take advantage of you. You know, it's like I look at like the CDC numbers, and if you look at that, you can obviously see the literally hijacking of mortality, the flu, the cold, and moved it into COVID. The irregular statistics. You know, it's really just incredible stuff. and no party is fighting it. Nobody's standing up and pointing out this obvious thing that's happening. Yeah.
And there's a reason why no party is fighting it, and there's not some it looks like, like I talk about, we want somebody in the government that we can look to and think, oh, this guy's on. Like if Ron Paul was in the Congress, Ron Paul, you'd think would probably be saying a lot of shit right now about the COVID,
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right. It's almost like you're doing business with somebody, and you want to know where.
The reason that nobody's saying anything is because, again, what I keep coming back to over and over again is that there's only this illusion of two different sides. They're on the same side. They have the same agenda for the public.
More evidence than the latest COVID bill.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. I mean, that was a fucking door of light shown into the darkness. Look at this. Look at the interconnectedness. It's a gigantic global machine. I mean, I think, like you said, both parties, the whole system's involved in it.
Right.
And I just think they think it's just these people in Congress just think that's just business as usual. It's really incredible stuff that we don't have anyone, fighting in the Republic. It's baffling.
I don't think that there's nobody fighting. I just think that I think that we're at this place where you kind of have to let what's happening play out, and then there'll be this moment, and so it has to be this constant kind of attempt to raise the consciousness from the outside, because the inside is not going to allow us to do that. So you have to whatever we can do is just push to make the awareness of again who the real enemy is. All the pillars of the community are full of shit. That it doesn't matter if it's the police or it's the medical, and it's because. It's because the everybody profits from it. And as long as we're all profiting from this, then we're all going to stay on this same page. It's like they say, they obviously couldn't get away with something like an inside job on 9/11 because it would take too many people and blah blah blah, But the truth is that as long as all the people involved are profiting the way that they need to. The way they expect to or more, which my guess is they're profiting much better than they expected to off of it, then the secret's not that hard to keep.
I mean, look at it's just funny money now. I mean, to me,
I was thinking about that earlier. I was thinking, back when I was a kid, there used to be like an index of how many millionaires there were in the world.
Right.
And now everybody's dad is a fucking millionaire,
Right. Yeah. It's just, and they're not planning on saving it. They're going to do what every good empire is and just reset the money through power. Mm-hmm. So they're not trying to save the money. They're just trying to ride as far before the bottom falls out with it, and that's probably part of the reset. What do you think is going to happen January 6th with the March on Washington?
I don't know anything. I honestly don't know anything about the March on Washington. I know I know that in let's say October of 2019, we started a discussion about doing a GoFundMe page for defend our president, and it was going to be send 5,000 buses to Washington, and we were going to do a GoFundMe to get all these buses together and then send all these people to surround the White House so that they don't have to kick the president out of the White House and all this shit, but that was just kind of a
That's interesting.
That was just
I didn't.
In October of 2019, that was just kind of us funning around about what should we be doing to be taking advantage of these people. And if we had done that right now, that shit would just be going bonkers, dude. So,
yeah, man, yeah. We got to take it all down and start from scratch. And like we've lost our way so bad, we have to actually like live back to scratch to kind of get our instincts to remember how it used to be.
It's so hard for people to think past the last fucking what happened yesterday. I think they can't. I think they have trouble remembering what happened yesterday, dude. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because they're always in the future. They don't teach the importance of being present, like your mind with your body, and live one day at a time. They've trained us to never be in the present and always be scattered all over the place. So it makes sense. It'd be easier to manipulate the mind. But you're right. We forget everything. We have now this memory hold. I mean, something significant can happen, and they can just wash it with their white noise, and people forget it.
I for an example, I've been watching. South Park has been doing a marathon on Comedy Central for the last 4 days, and I've been watching it.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot that like every time Stan would talk to Wendy, his girlfriend, that he would vomit on her because he was so nervous about talking to girls. I completely forgot that he did that because he hasn't done it for like the last 10 years or whatever. And now I saw him. I was like, holy shit, man! I completely forgot about that. But that's a small thing. But it's the point is that there is no. It's like yesterday almost didn't happen. So it's so hard to keep track of. What happened, I don't know. I'm really hoping we can get some kind of justice for 9/11, but I think that there's so much justice that we didn't get for the last 10 years. How are we going to go back 20 years to get that? You know what I mean? So
right. I think that they've kind of got us into this super conscious ADHD. Like people can't like stay present and like grow some roots. They're always looking for the next best thing. They never really believe in any ideas or anything, and can stand their ground. I mean, it's very sophisticated stuff. I mean, they've been working on the genders, the reset and everything.
Yeah. They have us as divide. The main thing is to divide us and get us as fearful of each other as possible. So. Absolutely gender thing, sexuality, every little thing they can have us divided on, they do. And they're just working to make it more and more and more. And why people buy into it so wholeheartedly, I don't think I'll ever understand. But
they just don't understand that they're under attack. They don't understand 21st century warfare. Really, we're in a cultural war. No one can recognize it. A good easy tell for evidence is what all warfare does is they go after the men. If you can disable the men in the tribe or in the country, it's more advantageous to take over. People will usually just negotiate or comply. But you take out all the alpha males, who's going to speak up?
Yeah, we watched Fifth Element on Christmas Day. I love that movie. Like I talk about it all the time, also on the show. But there's this one part where the cruise ship that they're on has been taken over by these terrorists, and the guy is like, send in the leader to negotiate. And Bruce Willis steps in and shoots the guy in the head. And he says, anybody else want to negotiate?
Yeah, yeah, much like that. Yeah. No, yeah, you can totally see that. With the like the estrogen stuff and feminizing the men. So yeah, absolutely. What do you think about the supposed extraterrestrial release of information in 6 months that got hit in the COVID bill?
I don't know anything about it, honestly. What is it? Share with us what you're talking about.
So, I mean, I don't know the specifics. I'm sure someone does. But in the COVID bill, you know, amongst all the other crap, there was some type of order to release the extraterrestrial information that the CIA and the military have.
Yeah, it's I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would have to be a greatly more detailed than that, because the CIA and the other agencies that are way above the CIA have a lot of information about extraterrestrials of all different kinds, and they're not about to release all of that information.
Yeah, it's just pretty amazing. Good stuff, man. You have a good show, bro. Where do I donate?
I'll put. Can you see the chat? I can put links in the chat.
All right, awesome.
All right, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Hey,
Mark,
are you gonna be around for a show tomorrow, or you got stuff to do?
Look, I mean, moving around here and there, but I'll try to tune in. You doing a New Year's Eve show?
Yeah, well, we're thinking about it. We're thinking that, there's, with the COVID and everything, there's not a lot of stuff for people to do, possibly, or, a lot of people that are used to going out and doing stuff. And I don't want people just sitting at home alone being lonely. I would be at home regardless, because there's fireworks and the dogs don't like fireworks, so we don't do stuff on days when there's fireworks. So
Moxie 24/7.
Yeah, right on, bro. All right, well, I put the links in the chat for you. Thanks a lot. It's good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, bro. Peace.
Right, stay cool. See ya. And again, that's this thing, like I keep bringing up, and it keeps coming up during the show again and again and again, is that the police aren't doing their job. It's not just the police. The politicians aren't doing their job. The police and the politicians are supposed to be there to defend our rights, to make the world good for us, meaning, they're not infringing on how we want to spend our lives, they're not trying to being overly intrusive into it. But it's, again, the government, the police, but it's not just the government and the police. And then it goes to the medical people, and they're full of shit, and then it goes to the religions, and they're full of shit. And it's all about everybody profits along the way. So if the medical industrial complex is profiting from cannabis being illegal, and the police state, the for-profit police state is profiting from cannabis being illegal, and politicians are profiting from cigarette companies and alcohol companies and the pharmaceutical industries by cannabis being illegal, then, it makes sense if all those people are profiteering, and they're like all in the upper echelons of controlling our societies, the alcohol industries, the pharmaceutical industries, the petroleum companies, cannabis cuts into all of this, so there's a reason why, because it's this renewable resource that really anyone can grow at home and benefit from. And the last thing they want is something that's so basic to humans that you can anyone could grow it at home and benefit from it. They don't want you to have anything like that. So not did they just make it illegal, they made it so like you're a bad person if you use it. If you use marijuana, you're helping the terrorist. You guys saw those commercials, right? That's the facts. That's the government that we've been dealing with. And when I say how misinformed the people are, that's how misinformed we are. This is the programming, how misprogrammed we are. And it's just endless. And then again, even if we have a clue as to, what the right thing is and who the real enemy is and, who the real threat to our actual personal freedom is and all of this, it's still hard to make the right decision on which way to turn, which way to go, how to, what stance to take, because we've been so misinformed. I mean, we have a clue as to what's going on, and and we can see that there's all these other people who don't seem to have a clue at all. But again, we've been so misinformed from the time we're little, non-stop, that there's a good chance that it's easy to make a mistake as to making the correct decision. So try and be understanding, and give yourself a break when you can. But we can do better. We have to do better. We don't have to do better. I always think about the people coming behind us, but I don't have any people coming behind me. I don't have a son, my son, my son's over there on the couch with his belly in the air, right? And so I'm not worried about, his life. He's had a great life. But I'm worried about the people coming behind us in a police state that we might be leaving them to just get worse and worse and have, less respect and more, traps everywhere to fall into. And I want us to fix it. I want us to fix it. I want people in positions of power who say that they're representing the people. I want them to represent us in a way that says, yes, no, the military-industrial complex is not the first, the most important part of America. No, because I don't see that. What I see, oh yeah, for the last blah, blah, blah generations now, the military budget has always been approved bipartisanly. Well, fuck you. I'm tired of the military being this fucking thing that is what America is. I don't want America to be, this militarized police state that's going around smashing shit all over the planet. I don't think anybody really wants that to be who America is, or how their tax dollars to be spent, or how their children's futures to be spent. I don't know. I don't have children. I'm not leaving something behind. I will, when I leave, I will be proud of the of what it is I did, and how I spent my time, and how I tried to make what I tried to make happen. I don't have any reason not to be. But it was because you guys. Because you guys is why I'm here. That's why I'm asking callers, should we do a show tomorrow? Would you be here? Because it's about whether or not you guys are going to be here. That's why when I talk about doing a show tomorrow, I talk about a lot of people probably don't have anything to do because of the COVID, blah, blah, blah. As where I don't do anything on New Year's because of the dogs. Okay? So you're not disrupting my day. Normally, I probably wouldn't do a show, because I wouldn't want to distract people or make people feel like they kind of need to be tuning in to what's going on with Mox. It's like on Christmas Day when there was the bombing. I don't want you guys to wake up and go, oh shit, what is this now? Especially on such a nothing burger as the bombing that happened in Nashville. So, And it's because you can again. I have videos, but you can hear it in the reporters' voices. You can hear it in the news people's voices saying things like, "Oh, stealing hope on Christmas Day." You know, they think that they're making these catchy catchphrases. You know, they're gonna like catch people, ring in people's ear, and oh, they're stealing our hope. They're breaking our heart. I'm waking up to this heartbreaking news on Christmas Day. I don't do that to you, okay? Because it wasn't something that needed to be done. Had there been a second bombing in another location, or the bombing had been somehow actually devastating, I would have made sure you guys knew about it, because I knew about it first thing on Christmas Day. But why would I want to add that to your Christmas Day, as if somehow I'm doing you a favor? But on this New Year's Eve, it seems like a lot of people won't have somewhere to go. So I thought maybe we'd do a live show. If you guys are interested, I don't know if you're interested. If anybody's calling, is anybody calling? This 805-669-6397. It seems pretty slow tonight. I don't want to come out here tomorrow night and just be a slow night, and I can be like, I'm just chattering on, you know. I have videos. I mean, I can always play more videos. I have another video about cops not doing their job. In fact, that's what the title of this one is. Cops not doing job. Okay? Because this is what I see happening. When they talk about, you know, oh, there's this crime and there's that crime. They don't act as if it's not the police have any responsibility here at all. You know, the police want to be like, oh, we're not funded properly. Well, you just every year you get more and more money and you're not funded properly. Every year, more and more money. You're building fucking $100 million police stations, but you're not funded properly. You know, it's bullshit. So, I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you about police not doing their job. Or actually, the last caller was talking about how again, this programming that's going on, they know what they're doing. And I said this all along too. Again, they know what they're doing. It's like, I have this video, I played it for you once already, but I'm going to go ahead and play it again because I know it's really important and I haven't posted it separately. And it's about that when children, black children in particular, have a negative interaction with police at an early age, that they have 11 times more likely to become career criminals and or lead a life of crime. And I find that this fascinating, mostly because they're making the knowledge public. Because in my opinion, this is something they've known a long time, and this is how, when they talk about the racist nature of policing, you know, that it's integral in policing, that's part of it. It's not just that they focus on the black community and the black kids get charged more often for marijuana crimes. It's that they know that if they have these interactions with the black community at early ages, that then they have a customer for life. They know that they're doing it on purpose. That's why I've kept the video in line to play for you guys, because I think it's important to see again. So I'm going to play that for you. I'll be right back.
New at 5:30, whether some kids become criminals may depend on whether they've had negative contact with police. UW researchers found a run-in with police is much more devastating for minority children than it is for white kids.
KIRO 7's Michael Spears is live now in Skyway with tonight's Western Washington Gets Real segment. Michael, this study found poor treatment by police can have a lifelong impact.
Not a surprising finding from this study that found black kids were more likely than their white counterparts to be treated as usual suspects after their first encounter with police, leading to more arrests over time.
These days, this is the only way to see my 24-year-old cousin
who was sentenced to prison for robberies, his last in 2015. The first at 16 years old. Delano's mom said his first ride with police happened in middle school when he was brought home from school after getting in trouble.
So I think that that's a really important piece of this puzzle, is that it's not an individual level behavior issue.
Annie McGlynn Wright and a team of University of Washington researchers studied the impacts of racial disparities in early police contacts, surveying more than 300 young people in Seattle between 8th grade and early adulthood, about half of them black. The study found black respondents who were stopped by police for any reason by the 8th grade had an 11 times greater chance of reporting an arrest by 20 than black people who did not experience early police contact. She said that wasn't the case for white children, who by 20 were more likely to have reported engaging in illegal behavior.
What it appears to be is a systemic response to black kids that differs from the response that police have to white kids.
Not only was it my narrative, it's a narrative of every kid that we deal with.
Paul Patu knows all about second chances, from being shot and nearly losing his life.
And start feeling my lungs collapse and blood starting to come up through my mouth.
To forgiving his shooter during a serendipitous meeting decades later.
Standing in front of me. First time seeing him, had a rush of emotion. I said, yes.
He's now the executive director of Urban Family, a nonprofit that serves kids and families in Skyway in South Seattle where he grew up, providing the kind of support, including mentorship, that he needed as a self-proclaimed class clown who was labeled a troublemaker.
We were relatively good kids, but ended up, in the criminal justice system. They would treat us like criminals going to school, and that was a major shift for me.
Now working alongside nonprofits like the Renton Innovation Zone Partnership.
How can we continue to create more opportunities for kids to have new experiences, new perspectives?
To create positive interactions for kids forced to navigate what Paul describes as urban landmines.
If there's continuing to be those things of negative interactions, then that narrative starts to build and build and build. And it definitely leads to, what the study pulled out.
Now, the researchers say this is really just a first step, looking at the bigger picture, the hope being that lawmakers, policymakers, advocates all pay attention and use these findings in the work they're doing in this area. For now, we're live in Skyway. I'm Michael Spears, Cairo 7 News.
All right, so again, this is what I'm talking about. It's just the pillars of the community being full of shit, and the programming that they know that they're doing. They know this is what they're doing to kids, and they're doing it on purpose. And then the constant, misinformation. It's just this overwhelming crap, It's so hard to fight it. It's just easier to give into it and find a groove and accept what, this is the way things are, and this is the way things are always going to be, and fighting against it isn't going to help anything. So I get it. I really do. But, And again, coming back to the V for Vendetta, this is the thing that he talks about when he takes over the emergency television system. He says, I appreciate, the modern, everyday routine as much as every person. This is, and it's not that you appreciate the routine, the modern day, in and out. It's just that it's so easy. You can almost kind of set yourself on autopilot and cruise through. So it's not that we really appreciate it that much, as that it's just so easy to do that. But we have to do something better. We have to do something bigger. And the reason why is because we can't. That's the only reason why. I can't think of, also I guess it's the right thing to do. That doesn't seem to get much credibility, street cred or whatever. They're doing the right thing these days. Used to be what it was all about. But, you know, anyways, the number is 805-669-6397. I guess we're going to do a show tomorrow night. If anybody wants to call, now's the time to do it, because otherwise I am just about out of here. I got have one more video, but it's not imperative that I play that one. I already played the ones that I wanted to play so far. So, if anybody wants to call, again, the number is 805-669-6397. We'll give you a minute. It's right there on the screen. 805 Mox News. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow. 7 p.m.-ish sounds about right. I think it may be 8 p.m. It may be 6 p.m. I don't know. And again, like if we do it like 8 p.m., then it'll be like the first hour will be New Year's on the East Coast, and then the second hour will be New Year's on the, you know, in the Midwest, and then the third hour will be New Year's on the West Coast, right? So we'll see how it works out. I don't know. It's not entirely up to me. So, but hopefully we'll do something good tomorrow night, and hopefully some of you will show up and say hi. Because again, it's always better when you're here. I hope you guys don't ever forget that. And it actually, the show would be completely meaningless without you. What would be the point if you didn't show up, right? So that's how important you are. So I guess we're not getting any phone callers. I am out of videos more or less. And I guess we'll be back tomorrow night, sometime between 6 and 8 p.m. I'm thinking like 7 p.m. the normal time, but might be more 8 p.m. So, right, figure 7-ish, 7-ish, you know. Until then, this is always nice to share this time with you guys, and I really appreciate you sharing your time with us. I hope that you're looking forward to a wonderful new year, and I look forward to sharing some of that time with you, some of that wonderful time with you. Okay? So until then, stay cool, because one of these days this war is gonna end. Stay cool till then.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com